Entitled mom tried to get me fired. Now her daughters can't graduate. So this happened a few years ago when I was 18. The revenge wasn't technically done by me, but I was a key witness to what went down. For some context, I used to work at a big chain store in the deli department. It wasn't a great job, but it was my first one and helped pay for college, so I stuck with it. However, because of what I had to deal with, I quit shortly after, even though it had a great ending. In my hometown, which had a population of about 4,500, there was a small group of PTA moms who were pretty high up in the community. They also ran their own party planning business. Their daughters were all best friends, straight-A students with perfect 4.0 GPAS, and all three were supposed to be valedictorians. I knew them mostly as the "we hate drama" crowd who ironically spread a lot of drama about others. Unfortunately, their drama once targeted me and caused me to fall into a pretty deep depression. Besides their love for drama, all three daughters had been accepted to Ivy League schools on full-ride scholarships. The one flaw they shared, both the daughters and their mothers, was extreme arrogance and pride. They were incredibly rude to anyone who wasn't rich, white, or in great shape. At the time, I was pretty overweight and struggled with severe acne. This detail becomes important later. One day, the moms came in asking for 300 pieces of fried chicken and 200 pinwheel sandwiches. Anyone who's worked in food service knows that an order that big needs a couple of days' notice to prepare properly. Not to mention, I was the only one working that night, so it would have been impossible to fulfill their order on the spot. These ladies thought they could just pick it up immediately to ensure food quality. I told them they needed to fill out an order form and that it would take a few days. That's when they lost it. They didn't just sigh or complain, they made vague threats, including threatening that I wouldn't walk at graduation. Here's roughly how the conversation went. PTA Mom 1 said, "I need this food today. We're the party planners for the lake party you probably weren't invited to, and the party is in 2 hours." I replied, "I'm sorry, but we don't have the staff or time to do that right now. I can make you a 96-piece order, but it'll take about an hour." PTA Mom 2 snapped, "Do you think this is funny? Do you know who I am?" I said, "No, I don't." PTA Mom 1 responded, "We're the official party planners of this town. We also run the high school PTA, so our daughters probably know you. You don't want your image tarnished, do you?" I brushed off the vague threat and said, "That sounds like a cool job, but there is no way to make 300 pieces and 200 pinwheels in that time. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. If you want, I can get a manager to talk to you." PTA Mom 3 then said, "When your manager gets here, I'm going to have you fired and stopped from walking this year. We don't want fattas taking up the walkway anyway." I told her, "Ma'am, I won't tolerate that kind of threat. I'm going to have to ask you to leave." PTA Mom 2 said, "But we didn't get our food yet." I replied firmly, "I'm sorry, but as I said, it's not possible. And after how you treated me, I have the right to refuse service. Have a good day." PTA Mom 1 shouted, "You will be hearing from us, you fat jerk. I hope our daughters don't know anything dirty about you." At that moment, the manager walked out. He said, "Excuse me, ladies, but you have no reason to treat my staff like that. You may think you run this town, but that doesn't give you the right to behave that way." The moms responded with a rude farewell as they stormed out. A few days later, I hadn't heard anything from them or my manager. Then at school, I saw the daughters crying together in a corner. I heard from one of their friends that in the past 2 days, they were told they could no longer walk at graduation. They had been caught cheating on almost every assignment and lost their Ivy League scholarships. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but it wasn't. A bystander overheard the heated exchange at the deli and happened to be a former PTA member. She had a lot of dirt on the moms and daughters and finally decided to come forward. It turned out the moms had been paying off teachers, threatening families, or worse, to get answers for their daughters. Since our school was small, just a handful of teachers were involved. That was my moment of happiness. Not only were the women kicked out of the PTA, but their daughters, who used to bully me, lost the chance to attend their dream schools. Last I heard, the daughters stayed in town and now work in the same deli department I used to work in. If anyone wants more details, I'm happy to share.